Okay, Sharif, we promised you a little bit of time now to fill in a little background so Seth and I can learn a little bit more about you.
Okay, you ready, Seth? Sharif Salim's my name. I come from a long line of fighters, boxers. My grandfather even did a little fighting in the Orange County and Madison County, Virginia, around that way back in the 1897. They claimed that he was the best heavyweight around. And as you know, my brother Adrian Davis, he was once ranked number 3 in the world, and he's worked with about 11 world champions, including Hasim Rahman, who beat Lennox Lewis for the title, William Jaffe, Sharif Mitchell, people like that.
My man Shambe.
Yeah, my man Sharif Mitchell. And it was good seeing him the other night.
It was.
And Brenda, his wife, was the first female commissioner, not commissioner, judge, on the Potomac Valley Athletic Association. And both of them are in the Hall of Fames of both, Maryland and D.C. So,
well, we're going to try to get Seth Mitchell into the Hall of Fame in Maryland a lot earlier.
I think that would be apropos for him.
Because I also serve on their Hall of Fame commission too.
Yes. Well, he's made an indelible imprint, on the fabric of the whole community.
Boxer of the Year.
And he won the Boxer of the Year award. He was at you saw him there at the Hall of Fame
He's in
inductee.
the Hall of Fame with us. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
We're brothers.
So, he's done quite well very early on. And one thing about Seth Mitchell, he always represents, wherever he goes. You don't have to worry about, him embarrassing anybody.
That's right.
He's quite an asset. And he was, he's been that way as I've talked with people who've known him all of his life, his fine mother, Miss Jeanette, his godparents, his mentor, Mr. Maurice Banks. He's been wise enough and blessed enough to have many wonderful people around him that support him, with no ulterior motives or hidden agendas, just giving back and loving and being very nurturing to this young man. And in turn, he does that himself through, mentoring, through speaking at schools and summer camps and athletic banquets and graduation. So, I feel very blessed to be associated with him and the people who I've met through him, and I think he might feel somewhat the same way with some of the people that he's met through me and through our wonderful trainer, Andre Hunter, and we just have a good team around us. I grew up in a family of 6 boys. I was the youngest, and that support system was always in place for me. Anytime they caught me out of character in the neighborhood or whatever, I didn't have to worry about it coming from outside the family. I was, as they say, get some straightening. I was straightening up inside the family, as well as with my mom, may she rest in peace. So, those type of things, they become ingrained in you. And then, it's for you to pass it along. And that's what I kind of feel I've been doing in my 37 years in education, as well as my long association with the pugnacious and pugilistic sport of boxing. Take it and then give back,
Well, that's right. And it was great seeing Shambe too the other day, because Shambe does a lot of things with kids too. In fact, he had adopted a school. And I did Shambe Mitchell Day in Tacoma Park many years ago. And Don King's daughter, in fact, came to it.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, we ought to have a Seth Mitchell Day in Brandywine. Or we might have to have it at Henry's Soul Cafe.
Yes, and make sure there's sweet potato pies.
That's right. Or Bajan's pound cake. Have you tried that?
I've been there several times. So.
Bernard's son, Bajan.
Yes, the young son.
He bakes pound cake now.
Wow. I don't know, all this food is making me hungry. I can't eat none of that food till after the fight.
Bajan gives back too, because he does that walk for vision.
Yes, he does.
And the dance for vision. In fact, guess what I'm doing in a couple of weeks? I'm going to a nursing home to hand out Christmas cookies. So my wife said, I'm going to that, and she said, no, you don't have to go. I'll go and all like that. And the fellow that drives me here, David, he's going, and we're going to hand out Christmas cookies too to people. And I said, no, I told my wife, that's part of me, giving back to the thing. I mean,
Right.
And that's what why I'd love to see him more in Maryland, because I want the young people to see what they can do. Now, a question I asked you earlier, how did you transform from football to boxing?
For the people that know my story, I was a casual boxing fan, and after I made a decision to stop playing football, I was circulating my resume, looking for the typical, 9 to 5, and I was at home in Michigan watching The Contender one day, and I believe it was on like ESPN or Sports Center. I saw a news flash of Tom Zbikowski. He was the safety for Notre Dame, having his pro debut at Madison Square Garden, and I saw him have success, and because he was a rival and he was in college at the same time I was, a light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, if he can do it, if he can, I can. And from that day forward, I made my mind up. I wanted to start boxing, and I called home and spoke to my high school coach, my mentor, Maurice Banks, and told him that I was serious about boxing, and asked him if he knew anybody that I could, get linked up with to start, on this journey. And because of his character and how much I trusted and believed him when he introduced me to Mr. Salim, I knew that I didn't have to, check his background because of, the character of Coach Banks. And so once that happened, the rest was history. I started, training different. I started, getting involved in specifics in boxing, and it was, I believe it's almost 5 years now, and I'm 23, 0-1, 17 KOs. It's just truly amazing, truly a blessing. So I'm just very fortunate that, after my knee injury and the surgeries that I had, that I'm still able to compete and, be athletic. So I don't take it for granted at all. I feel that, I'm truly blessed, and, God is just blessing me.
Well, the good Lord blesses us all. Remember, I've had 2 strokes, and I've been able to come back from it. And one reason why is because I have faith in the Lord, and I talk to him every day, morning and night. And believe me,
so true.
prayer works.
Yes.
I'm telling you, people say, oh, no, baloney. Prayer works.
Yes. I truly believe it.
And that's why I love this so much like this. And that's why I want to get that message out to the people to see, especially the young people, that, hey, you can do it. Believe, put your heart into it, work hard, and talk to the Lord, and follow the examples of people like Seth Mitchell, and you won't go wrong.
A lot of times, the thing about you have to, faith is good, but the scripture says, faith without work is dead. You have to, put forth the effort. You have to. A lot of times when I talk to the youngsters, they see, they see you on TV, they see you, they think you're living the life, but they don't understand. They want the success, but they don't want the sacrifice. They don't see all the behind the scene things that, they're getting up, in the morning, running 4 or 5 miles, doing your 500 to 700 sit-ups, sparring and things of that nature, not eating right, not, hanging out. They don't understand all of the work that goes into, that 30 minutes. When I'm fighting, my next fight is 10 rounds. That's 30 minutes. That's all they're going to see. They're going to see that I'm on HBO, but they don't understand the sacrifices, the punishment.
Goes into it.
And what goes into it. So that's one of my big things that I try to preach to them.
And one thing I always ask boxers, because I always felt it was hard when I was young, because I didn't want to get hit in the face too many times, was how do you prepare yourself mentally for that punch? Somebody aiming at your head, giving you the 2-2-1 or up. How do you prepare for that? That has to be something, mentally that you have to develop the strength in that, and the Lord has to be with you with that. But I've always felt that's a tough thing to do. Of course, I got suckered punched one time when I was young, so I always make sure that if a person starts getting a little angry in his voice, I'm looking at him.
Right.
He's not looking at me. I'm looking at him.
It's very tough, and to be honest, I really can't answer that question. But I will say, people ask me, what's tougher, football or boxing? And I always say, boxing because it's just a totally different beast. It's a different mentality from being on a football field and going in a ring and fighting. It's just, I can't explain it, but you definitely have to be mentally tougher, I believe, to be successful in boxing than football. You know, for one, it's a team sport. If you make a mistake, you know, your partner, he can cover for you. But when you're in that ring, you know, it's you have your trainer that, you know, that teaches you. But just like a coach could put you in the right spot to make a play, but if you're in the right spot and you don't make the tackle, it's all for nothing. True. You know, so you can have a good trainer, but you're the fighter, you're in the ring, you have to, you know, make it do what it do, as they say. You know, you have to go out there and perform. And it's just a different beast when you're in there getting punched in the face. You know, and I consider myself a fairly, you know, decent looking gentleman, so I don't really like getting hit, you know, too much. But
neither did I. I did.
I don't really like getting hit. So, but it's just a different animal when you're in there boxing.
I'll tell you, I broke my nose in a football game against Wilson, and that night I met the ugliest girl I had ever gone out with, and she probably thought I was as ugly because my nose had disappeared. The nose wasn't there. I remember that's back when we didn't play with, you know, masks.
Right.
And they got me, man. And when I went to the sideline, the official said, "Get out of here," because I was bleeding all over the thing. And I get to the sideline, and this guy comes over to me, and he says, "Oh, what's wrong, son?" And he reaches down, and he grabs my nose, and he says, "Oh, it's your nose." He said, "Clunk," like that. And I said, "Ah." He said, "It's all better now." But I mean, you know, and I still carry the effects of when I got sucker punched because I got a couple teeth that were chipped out. Yeah. So I said, no more sucker punches for me. I'll watch.
We try to protect ourselves at all times.
That's right.
In the ring.
And he's doing a good job, and you've done a good job.
I appreciate it.
I will say, from when I first started boxing, as you get more experience, you do learn how to roll with the punches more. So, you know, I might get hit with a shot now, but it doesn't hurt as much because, you know, I rolled with the punch and took some of the steam off. Whereas when I first, you know, started boxing, I was more tight and, you know, didn't know how to take the punches as well. So I can take some of the steam off the punches, but for the most part, you want to try to avoid punches at all times.
That's right. I do know now.
And we have little things, little acronyms and initials, DMO, defense makes offense, how to roll with the punches. His most excellent trainer, Andre Hunter, they go through several drills with the mitts and, you know, with the sticks. And he puts a lot of things in place, a lot of, you know, hypothetical situations. And, you know, we review tapes and things like that. You're going to get hit in the sport. Of course, we try to make it as least amount of times as possible.
That's
at least those power punches.
Right.
And, you know, you should see the drills that trainer Andre Hunter goes through with Seth. It's really remarkable, the different things that he's put in place and the quickness in which Seth has grasped that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, now we have to get going. So one more time. When is it? When is the show? December 10th?
Saturday, December the 10th. Doors open at 4:30. I think the television fights might start as early as probably 9 o'clock. The televised main event, co-main event, then the main event.
And you,
well, HBO, I guess, from Eastern Standard Time.